Welcome to the Love and Marriage Talk once again. Oh boy, it's been 1 week that we have been trying to get this unusual technical issues we were having, but thank God, and more props to my hobby here. Thank you for fixing it.
I believe we figured it out together. So I'm not gonna take all the
credit.
The credit. We all contributed to making it work, and thank you for
being patient.
Being patient.
Oh my goodness! Yes. I was like, oh my! Our viewers are waiting. I was getting the text messages, and asking, do you have another video out? And I'm like, we will be right out there. Sorry. So thank you so much for being patient with us. We really appreciate you. And I think when you start anything and you don't get some of these hiccups, you don't get to learn along the line, right?
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
So we went through it and we got it resolved. And here is your
waited upon episode.
Much waited upon episode.
So today we are going to be talking about effective communication in our relationship, in our marriages. We are excited to share with you yet another great topic, something that we all do in our relationship and in our marriages. And Nate and I thought that, you know what, everybody communicates.
Yes.
Are we doing the right things? Are we communicating the right way to get the right results? So we were like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So you want to start in communication?
Communication is definitely a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one street in communication. It's not just one person doing the conversation. It's usually a dialogue.
Yes.
So we have done some few research. We have also addressed our own communication flaws that has brought up to this topic.
Yes.
So we're excited. We do communication well. We do communication well in our workplace because we have to communicate.
Yes. Also, you're saying generally, everybody does communication well at your workplace.
Yeah, because you are being paid to communicate. Whatever job you're performing, whether you work by yourself or you work with a partner, you have to communicate.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that on an average, we do well with that.
Yes.
Now, to what matters the most, relationship.
Yes.
We have to understand that some of the things that allows our relationship to thrive, right, is communication.
Yes.
You take communication out of any relationship,
it would not work.
I believe you. You are going to pull your hair, pull your ears, pull your eyes, just trying to figure out what is going on, and it will not work.
Yes.
So this vehicle is essential to
having a
relationship thrive.
Yes, and be successful.
Be successful.
So we realize that in communication, it takes two things. It takes someone who is speaking and the other one
listening.
Yes.
And I even want to qualify the listening, actively listening,
which is part of the things that we'll be talking about that makes the communication effective.
Yes.
So let's dive right into the speaking part. When we are communicating with one another, we realize that in our marriages and in our relationship, when it comes to love, you want to be mindful about how you are addressing each other.
Yes.
The starting, the platform that you are going to begin your communication with is addressing. So like Nate said, at our workplace, we communicate. Either your boss and you are communicating or you are communicating to your boss, right?
Yes.
And you want to start on a good note. So we realize that as couples, in our relationships, in the marriages, when we are communicating, we have to make sure that we being mindful. So the first thing is being mindful of how we address each other, so that the other person is not like, excuse me, are you talking to me? Just because they think you didn't reference them the right way. Like in our relationships, some of us know that when you are called by certain names, it means you are in trouble. If you are being called, hi baby, hi honey, and all of a sudden they're like, Nate, I need to talk to you. We need to talk. You're like,
Not today.
you know there is trouble,
Not
right? So, babe, what would you talk about? What would you say about the mindfulness?
The mindfulness is crucial. It's very important to understand who your audience is, right?
Which is your spouse, your loved one.
This is not your child. This is not your son. This is not your daughter. This is not your dog. This is not your cat. This is
your loved one.
Your loved one. Your husband or your wife.
Your girlfriend, your boyfriend.
Your girlfriend, your boyfriend.
You need to address them.
You have to address them in a loving, perceptive way.
Yeah.
One thing that bruised up my tiny little ego is having to call me on something that I assumed I messed up. My ego is all bruised up. Calling me right in the middle of nowhere by my whole English name. I'm like, no, we can't have that. No. Do you have a moment? I will say, no, I don't. I don't. Because I have to check myself before I sit down and have a dialogue with you. So it is very important to be mindful
of how we
address each other.
Yes.
It helps a long way, clear the platform.
And start the conversation on a very good note.
On a very good note.
Yes. So with that said, the next thing is the active listening that Nate was talking about. So when you have addressed the person in a very rightful way, you earn their listening ear, right?
Yes.
And so then they are actively listening. Honey, when it comes to actively listening, what are some of the things that you think we do that shows the other person that you are actively listening?
Oh boy. And because of the culture, because of the westernized culture we find ourselves in, and influence that we find ourselves in.
The time of today.
There is a lot of distractions. A lot. When we were all growing up, the only form of mainstream news or whatever
the TV or the radio,
that small box in the living room, that was the mainstream,
and a black and white
TV, but in today's society we got our cell phone, we got the mobile phone plus the laptop plus the TV,
and some people have two phones.
It does everything. And that has become our biggest distraction.
Yes.
So being mindful, I say all that to say, being mindful, right, means whatever was grabbing your attention, whatever that kept you preoccupied before your spouse called upon you, you break from there.
You need to stop.
So you walk away from that and say, hey, I'm here. I pause the TV. I set the phone down.
Let's talk.
And by the way, if you can even, those with kids, if you can tell your children, hey, mom and dad are talking, so we will deal with you after our conversation. Already, you are setting that preparation. That platform for the communication to be effective.
Yes.
You've laid all the process in play for that conversation to be very productive.
So when it comes to that, I remember you saying that you put the phone down, the laptop, you shut it down and all that. It's amazing how even if we are watching those reality show, like some people can let that take precedence over.
Oh, let me finish. It's almost done. 5 more minutes, and that whole footage, that whole footage is recorded.
Yes, you can play it back.
It's pre-recorded.
So why do you let some distractions come your way when you and your spouse need to have a conversation? Let's move on. No, it's just interesting because you know how men and women have their own spot. Oh, I'm watching that football. That soccer is on. I don't have an ear for you. You never know what it is that you need to discuss. Right. You never know why they need your attention. Right. That soap opera you're watching can wait. Give your spouse, give your loved one that attention so that you can talk and see that each other is important, because that's one of the things that it does for you. It makes you know that, hey, he is mindful about me.
I didn't mean to cut you.
It's okay.
As long as each spouse is mindful of each other, right? So the active listening is what we're discussing about. Mm-hmm. But the spouse in need or wanting to create that dialogue should also be mindful of the time.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Of what is taking place. Because if you know your husband watched Super Bowl and that whole event is once,
a year,
right? You don't barge in and say, hey,
I need to talk to you
right now.
I need to
talk to you right now.
I know a lot of men will say, babe, I'm sorry, I'm going to disappoint you.
Exactly.
We can't have that conversation right now.
They're watching their FIFA leagues, and they don't watch it every night.
Yes.
It comes in once so often.
That's such a great point.
That is also important.
That's such a great point.
As long as you're mindful
of each other,
it just, joins in and create that healthy space for effective communication.
And I think, Nate, you and I can agree to it that, and I think our viewers too can agree to it that sometimes there's some communications that
it's urgent.
That is one-offs, the hundreds that will happen.
Yes.
So what we are saying is, if it is not an urgent communication that needs to be had at that time, like Nate is saying, if his friends are around, if your friends are around and you guys are watching Super Bowl, or it's something that you've planned for, can you wait? Be mindful. Think about your other spouse. Think about your spouse. Think about your loved one. Is this a good time? Are they going to give me their listening ear? So, honey, that's a very good point.
Yes.
So, with that saying, we go on to the third point, that is speaking clearly and coming out clear.
Ooh.
So, when the other person is giving you the attentive listening, the active listening to you, can you please be clear what you were talking about? How many times do we talk to each other and you finish saying everything that you said and the person's like, wait, what did you just say? I didn't quite understand what you're saying. Let's be clear in our communication. And I'm gonna throw one funny one out here. Like, we the ladies, I pick on my ladies. I love you ladies. So we the ladies, we go to work, we come home, we're tired, we cook, we clean, and we sitting with our spouse on the table eating, and we're like, oh my goodness, I am so exhausted today, I am tired. All I can wait for is to go have a warm shower and just lay down in bed. I am so exhausted. You know the message you're sending to the spouse? I know, I'll go there. So the message you're sending to the spouse is like, please, I'm so tired. Not tonight.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me,
no
right?
Cookie for you.
Be nice.
No cookie. Yeah.
So, what we're saying is, if that's not what you meant, ladies, be clear.
And precise.
Be clear and let your husband know that. Let your loved one know that I'm tired. I'm not talking about that other tiredness or time we need to spend together, right? I'm just saying I can't wait to hit the bed. The fact that you hit the bed doesn't mean that you're still tired, right? So before you know, nothing is going on and in the middle of the night or in the morning, you're like, oh, babe.
Where were you?
Where were you? You didn't even cuddle me tonight. You didn't hug me tonight. Lady, I felt all lonely. You just told the young man you were tired. You just told your spouse you were tired.
Not today.
And so they decided not to touch you until they want to. I know you know what I'm talking about. When they want to, it don't matter whether you're tired or not.
And to bring back to your point, that kind of communication is not clear.
It's not.
It's left for interpretation.
Yes.
You know, obviously there's something you need.
Yes.
You know, you could have said, I had a long day at work, but if you don't mind, can you run me a shower?
Yeah.
If you don't mind, can you give me a massage?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't mind, can you pour me a wine once I'm done taking a shower? You know, be clear with your demands. That is part of the clarity in communication we're trying to
That was a funny one, though.
It's part of it.
But I think it's part of it
It's
because
definitely part of it.
as couples, I think we communicate and the message that we send might not be clear. And the other person will take it as, oh, you said you were tired, so I decided to leave you alone.
So you were tired.
I didn't want to bother you.
I guess I'm gonna do me today. Just stay up all day and watch TV and get tired before I come to bed.
Yes, so let's be mindful in our communication. If it is something that is around the house that you need to be done, you need help, don't speak to the wall. I'm sorry, when I say don't speak to the wall, I mean don't speak as if you're not speaking to somebody. So an example would be we saying, oh, I can't believe this. The dishes are still in the sink. They need to be washed and I'm so tired. I don't know if I can take care of it. You are with your spouse in the house. You were with your loved one in the house. What is so hard to say that, honey?
I need help.
I need help.
I'm tired.
Can you take care of the dishes for me whilst I clean the stove or I sweep the place? I'm very tired, so that at least we can both go upstairs together or we can both relax together. Be clear in what you are asking from your spouse. When they give you that active listening, don't waste it.
Captivate.
Take that attentive listening that they're giving to you
Yes.
and pour your heart out. Be clear so that they can act upon whatever you are asking or needing to be done.
Yes.
We will be back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. We have about 3 points for you, and I know it's going to be putting everything together. We'll see you right after the break.
So our next part, babe, is seeking understanding.
Okay.
That means if your spouse has delivered whatever issue that he or she want to talk about, seeking understanding. Seeking understanding, I believe, creates room, right, for no assumptions.
That's correct.
You asked, hey, what did you mean by that? It wasn't clear to me. You know, what did you mean? You know, just trying to create that room for them to elaborate what they're trying to express.
Yes.
It's very important. What do you think about that?
I think, Nate, you hit the nail on the head, because as much as someone gives you their attentive listening and you speak clearly, that doesn't mean they're gonna get everything that you said. Sometimes they do miss certain things that you said. So we are thinking that in relationship, in our marriages, a lot of things can be said at different times, at different points in our relationship that we might not have understood. Please do not just take it for granted. Seek for understanding if you did not understand. Because like Nate is saying, the moment you don't seek for understanding, it gives room for the other person to think you heard them. Meanwhile, you did not hear them.
Absolutely.
Or you understood where they were coming from. Meanwhile, you did not. And so when you seek for understanding, it gives them the room to clear things up for you and say, oh, babe, oh, I understand how you feel like that. No, that's not what I meant, right? So that you can clear the air and you're not leaving your communication area, or you're not leaving that communication with that mind of, what was he talking about? What was she talking about? So seeking understanding is very, very important.
Okay.
It's very important.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that when we do seek for understanding, it provides more facts to support what we are saying.
Right.
So if you don't seek for understanding, and I say what I want to say, honey, can you grab that for me? Okay, that. What is that?
Yes.
Honey, can you grab that cup for me? There may be 2 cups there.
You want a
Okay.
cup?
Which of the cups do you want?
You've narrowed it down to something.
Yes. Which of the cups do you want? Oh, honey, I need the cup with the water in it. You were clear. They're going to do what you are really requesting them to do.
Yes.
So seeking understanding, guys, is very important as much as communicating, making yourself clear to whoever you're communicating with. So the I statement. That is another powerful one that Nate and I came across. So you might be asking, Esther, what is the I statement? So we came across this I statement in, for example, when you are in the house with your spouse, when you are in the house with your loved one, in our relationships and in our marriages, how many times have it occurred to you that you were supposed to do something that you did not do, right? And the other person is used to you doing it, right? And they're trying to figure it out. Why? Why didn't they do what they were supposed to do? So, for instance, when we go to our various jobs and our spouses call to check up on us, right? It becomes something that we get used to.
Right.
So if you don't hear from each other, you're like, okay, what is happening, right? You come home and maybe you're driving home or you're on your way home, you've not even still heard from them. And so you are fuming inside like, I can't believe he did not call to check on me.
Right.
Or I can't believe she didn't even call to check on me. The I statement comes in when you get home and you say, baby, I could have taken about 10 minutes to call you today, even though it was so busy, but trust me, I tried. Unfortunately, it was meetings upon meetings upon meetings.
Right.
And by the time I realized you were off from work, I was coming home anyway. So I am sorry. I apologize. I could have done that. How was your day? What does this do for you, Nate? If I did that, tell me. How do you feel?
You've taken my socks away. You've charmed my socks. I mean, I'm just in the knife cloud at that point, right?
Yes.
Because any frustration I have leading to you
not reaching out,
it's done.
Yes.
You've already validated my consent, by accepting that, obviously you're supposed to do something and you didn't do it. But
you
gave reasons.
By using the I statement.
Gave reasons. And you have accepted and also expressed how you truly feel.
Yes.
And that is such a beautiful thing.
And we don't do that most of the time. I don't think
we get preoccupied.
I don't think we even remember that there is something like an I statement. Right. But trust me, it is very powerful. It's like you cooking, making dinner ready, and you realize that I am so tired.
You run out of time.
I ran out of time. I need to go take a shower real quick before my hubby comes in. And by the time you come from upstairs or you come from the room, he is in, right? The table is not set. He's so hungry, right? Meanwhile, you talk about 30 minutes ago and you said, oh, babe, by the time you get home,
we'll be ready.
The food will be ready. The I statement is powerful. Yes. That is the time you say, honey, I could have taken about 5 minutes to set the table. I am so sorry. I thought I could have taken a shower before you come in. I ran out of time, but give me a moment, I'll do it. At that time, it softens the person's heart. It makes the person know that you were thinking about them.
Yes.
And for that matter, however angry they are, or however upset that they are, they've understood you, and 9 out of 10 they'll say, oh, don't worry, I can understand you. Thank you for at least, oh, you smell very good. You look very beautiful. Thank you for cooking. So the I statement, let us not forget the I statement. We have 2 more to go. That is open-ended question, asking open-ended question. Honey, so open-ended question, what does that mean? When we are communicating, why do we have to use open-ended question?
I mean, you use open-ended question to assure that whatever you are, communicating has been received.
Or another way said will be using an open-ended question so that you don't get a yes or a no answer.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And in our relationships, if you give that chance, you're gonna have a yes or no answer all day long.
And it takes away the communication.
Yes, it does.
And
it does.
Open-ended questions will pretty much
Open up
like
more discussion.
Like it states open. Open up for more discussion.
Yes.
Where you can have more engagement.
Dialogue. Talk and
instead of monologue, dialogue.
Like saying, honey, did you wash the dish today? Yes or no? Honey, are you picking me up today? No. End of discussion.
Right.
But if you ask, honey, how's your day going to be? Are you still looking at picking me up? Oh yes, I'm still looking at picking you up. Maybe it'll be later, or maybe no. I thought about that, but plans have changed.
Right.
I have some meetings, so can you drive, or can you catch a cab or something to come home? So it is very important we use open-ended questions in our communication so that we can elaborate on what we are talking about.
Yes.
We can extend on what we are talking about. Instead of saying, did you hear what I said? And they would say, oh yes, or no, I did not hear. You can say, how do you feel about what we just talked about?
Right.
What do you think about the suggestion I brought up?
Yes.
That way, the person is able to open up and say, I hear what you're saying. I was thinking we can do it X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Honey, right?
I agree with you. Yeah. It is very important. So, I mean, the open-ended questions definitely creates that room for continuous dialogue.
Yes.
Instead of a short yes or no sentence, just to brush off the conversation.
And I think it pulls other people's whatever they might not have thought about. They're able to give their opinion. That's what I'm about to say. It helps the other person to share their opinion. Because when you say, what do you think about what we just thought about? Or what did you think about what I just said?
Right.
Then they are activating their
reasoning
and their opinion to share with you. Yes. And guys, the last one that Nate and I were like, do people always do that? Do we even always do that in our communication? When we finish talking, are we doing this last thing? And I know what you're thinking. You were like, what is she talking about? So the last one we thought that normally sometimes we forget to ask or do in our communication is validation. Validation, babe.
Being validated is just such a beautiful thing, because after you've done all the talking, and
all the listening
has taken place, somebody needs to be validated, right?
Or the conversation needs to be validated.
To create the closure.
There you go.
In that discussion. So validation is
Yes.
needed to create closure, right? If there is no validation, that conversation is going to continue.
Yes, it's going to.
It might not be the same day, but I assure you the next day, you're going to talk about the same subject again, because no one was validated, right? So validation allows the engaged parties to understand each other,
be on the same
page, and have a closure to what they've discussed.
Yes. And simply some of the things that you can say in validating. Okay, I heard what you said. All right, so next week we've decided that this is what we're going to do. We're going to try this. We're going to
incorporate this.
And let the other person know that, hey, he heard me.
Yes.
She heard me. We're on the same page, and be able to close out that conversation.
Awesome.
Honey, we have a lot of work to do too. Because when you have children, it's even taking it in another direction, because you're not only conversating with your husband or your spouse or your loved one, the kids too, they need validation.
They need validation. Do you hear me, Daddy?
Daddy, did you hear me? Mommy, did you hear me?
You're not listening to me. Because you didn't say anything when they talked to you.
Yes.
You just said, okay.
Yes.
And they're like, okay.
Are we going to do it? Are we still going to the park? Are we still going out this weekend?
Everybody needs validation.
Everybody needs validation. So guys, you're doing an amazing job in your relationships. You're doing an amazing job in your marriages. Nate and I are always working on ours, and we want you to work on yours with us.
Yes.
So let's learn to continually communicate effectively.
Yes.
And we're going to bullet point all the points that we gave, and so you don't have to memorize it, okay?
This was such a wonderful episode to discuss effective communication in relationship. I truly believe that if all of us, right, all of us pick some of these points and incorporate it into our day-to-day communication, it will really, enhance our relationship.
Yes, it will.
And it will be a blessing.
Yes.
It will truly be a blessing to break some of the eggshells we got to walk around in the house.
And I think if we are confident among ourselves as couples, as loved ones, it's easier to get it to the children. Let the children also enjoy that kind of conversation,
yes.
Effective communication, so that everybody in their home is not assuming, oh, did he hear what I said? Did mommy hear what I said? And so, yes, you're right, Nate. It just helps living being easy, simplified, so that you are not assuming. It takes all assumptions away. So this week, find something to work on. Be mindful. Validate each other. Active communicate. Active listening.
Yes.
Being able to be clear when you're talking.
In your delivery, yep.
Use the I statement, right? Yes. Own it, so that the other person knows how mindful you are, and just addressing each other in the right way when we want to communicate.
It's gonna be great. It's definitely gonna enhance and enrich your relationship. With that being said,
keep subscribing, keep watching and sharing. We appreciate you so very much, and we are happy to be back once again.
All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Stay blessed.
All right. Have a good week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.